Zimmy's going to ask me some questions about the masterclasses so that I can get really focused on what I need to tell you about them. And we just keep Odin entertained at the same time.
Okay, so Lisa, you're running masterclasses on The Breakup is the Wake Up. Why did you choose that title and what is it about?
So the title actually came to me when I was talking to a friend the other night about how breakups really impact our lives. I speak to a lot of people that it takes them quite a while to move through the breakup situation, and the whole time that we're moving through it, we're really not living our power. We often are giving away our power because we're still stuck in what happened and how it happened, and it really drains us, especially if we have children, especially if we're trying to run a business, and we're really not living the fullest life we can. So for me, the big thing that happened was when I just began to think like this is an opportunity, and that's the one thing that really turned it around. And honestly, it's been the biggest wake up of my life.
So an opportunity, so you were in a similar situation and you were trying to deal with that. Is that what you mean about the opportunity?
So the opportunity, so for me, when my partner told me he wanted to end the relationship, it was a big shock. Because like you know, if you've been through this before, all your dreams are based in the relationship. Your whole future is on the foundation of you two being together as a couple. So when I looked into my future, I actually couldn't see anything apart from this like blank empty space, and it was so frightening. Like it was just, it's a horrible feeling. It's dread. It's just horrible.
So frightening because you wanted to have a future, or because you thought that you had no future, or what was it that you were frightened about?
I think what's so frightening is that the plans and the dreams, and it's almost like we create an identity around them. It's like, this is what we're going to do. We know what we're going to do. We know where we're going, and there's a sense of certainty in that. So when that's like, and like for me, it felt like I was evicted from this relationship. Like I was evicted. I didn't even get a minute to collect my things and walk out the door. It was like I was just evicted, and that is horrifying if you've been in that. And it was the first time that I've ever felt that, like the paralysis that comes with that type of fear.
Okay, and how long were you paralysed for?
So after 3 days, I was just like, okay, this is just suffering. And I knew I'm an emotions practitioner. I've worked with people, so many people, and nothing I knew to do was working. And I think there's a stage actually when we feel so much grief and pain that we're just fucked up, and you've just got to go. I've just got to go with this feeling. It will end, but there's a time that actually I don't think that you can do anything, because that's just how it is. And after 3 days, I was like, I started actually just praying for some sort of support or help some way through it, because I thought there's got to be something here. I don't want to suffer anymore. I know I'm going to feel pain, but I don't want to be in this suffering. And from that point, actually 3 friends rang me within 10 minutes, and they were friends that I could share with that weren't going to bag out my ex. They were just going to hear me, and they were asking me questions so I could actually not get stuck in my story. And it was enough for me to actually be able to download how I was feeling. So I didn't keep getting stuck and going over that story, because you'll know if you've been in this situation, if you don't sleep and you can't eat and you're lying awake at night and you're going over and over and over what was said, and over what you'd like to say, the conversations that you'd like to have. And if you're a writer like me, I wrote out so many letters, anyway. So for me, it was that moment where I'm just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to turn this into something that's going to help me. I want to end the suffering. I know I'm going to feel pain, but I don't want to be stuck in this suffering, because I know that there's more to it than this.
Okay,
and that's
so that's
the
the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, and then is that the basis for the workshop that you're running, or the masterclasses that you're running?
So I went through so many different stages, and from that moment I went through a process like the next day which totally flipped over the way I was feeling, to the point where I started sobbing in bliss, and I was running around the house and my 12-year-old was saying, "Mum, are you okay?" And I'm like, actually, I am super. Like, I just couldn't believe how I moved into this state. I knew that state wouldn't last, but it was enough to shift me out of the worst of that feeling that I was in. And from that point, I had several realizations, and I was using different processes that moved me to a place where I could fully accept what had happened. I could fully see that what had happened was to my greatest benefit. And actually, quite surprisingly, Howard had opened my heart rather than shut my heart down. And I felt so passionate at that point that there is absolutely a way through this. And I see a lot of women that get stuck here, and I think you don't have to be stuck.
So if someone comes to your masterclass, what is it exactly that they're going to get from the class, and what are they going to be doing?
That you have a clear plan of action when you leave the class. So starting with the emotions, like how do we actually shift the emotions that we tend to get stuck in, is the first part of the class, because unless we deal with that emotional charge, it's very hard to move on. It's very hard to see the opportunity. It's very hard to not react when your partner sends you those texts and all the vitriolic messages that you're probably going to get at some point. And you'd be triggered, like if you've got kids especially, you'll be triggered. So if we don't deal with the emotional baggage and have a maintenance plan and a process of action, we can't move on to the next bit, which is understanding how we're going to get through our future. What is it that we can do that actually give us a sense of excitement and purpose that we can apply to how we're feeling, so that rather than being stuck there, we can actually transfer it into the place where we have some hope for our future and we know what to do. So at the end of the day, people will feel a sense of excitement, a sense of hope, relief definitely from the emotional charge. Just get a stick. Relief definitely from the emotional charge, and also have tools that you can apply to your life, that you can support your children with, that create connection with your children, and a plan of action. What you need to do every single day so that you can live the best life you possibly can.
Okay, so there are 4 steps, are there?
So 4 sessions on the day. There'll be lots of steps. I'm going to have a Facebook group which will have resources as well, and we can be connecting as well through that, because there'll definitely be questions and support that you need. Creating a network of women that are in a similar situation so that we can all help each other move through. And I'm also offering, along with the workshop, a 30-minute laser call where I ring you free of charge, maybe a week, 2 weeks after the workshop, just to touch base with you, answer any questions, because there will be things that come up and there will be things that you need support with. And I think that's really important, so that you feel that you're supported and that you know that you've got support when you need it. You can find the links to that on I Am Lisa Jane on Facebook, I Am Lisa Jane on Instagram.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Simi.
And thanks, Odin. Where are you,
Thanks,
Odin?
Odin.
Yay.
Yeah.